Welcome students. Today in science we will learn about atoms. Now our objectives are students will be able to understand how to build an atom. Students will be able to understand the three components of an atom, which are protons, neutrons, and electrons. Students will understand how to make an atom a positive and negative ion. Now, before we begin on the Phet simulation, I would like to go over some basic information that we need to know. An atom is the basic unit of matter. An atom contains protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons are in the middle of the nucleus of the atom. A proton is a positive charged particle. A proton determines the atomic number. Protons plus neutrons equal the atomic mass. So now we know how to find the atomic number and the atomic mass. Neutrons are in the middle of the nucleus of the atom, just like protons are. A neutron is a neutral particle. Neutrons plus protons equal the atomic mass, just like we said right above. To determine the number of neutrons in an atom, you will subtract the atomic number, protons, by the atomic mass of an atom. Electrons are in the orbitals around the nucleus of the atom. An electron is a negative charged particle. To determine the number of electrons in an atom, you will need to know how many protons there are. The number of electrons equals the number of protons, unless there is an ion. Now let's head over to our Phet simulation. Here we have the periodic table of elements, and here we have the atom. The orange X is the nucleus, and the blue dotted circle lines around the atom are called the orbitals, and that is where the electrons go. Now I have a periodic table in front of me, and it has the mass of each element, so I will tell you the mass of each element before we move ahead, so we know how many neutrons are in the atom. So let's start with hydrogen. Hydrogen is on the left highest corner of the periodic table, which means it starts with number 1. The atomic number of hydrogen is 1. That means we will have 1 proton, because the atomic number equals the number of protons. Next, the mass of the hydrogen is 1.01. So we take the proton minus the atomic mass, because again, atomic number equals proton, and atomic number minus atomic mass equals how many neutrons we have. So 1 minus 1.01 equals 0.01, which doesn't make a full neutron, so we have no neutrons. But if we have a proton, we must have an electron. So we head that over. So the mass number equals 1, and the net charge is 0, so that means we have a neutral atom. Now, let's go to a different element. Let's say we have lithium, and 1, 2, 3. So lithium is the third element on the periodic table. So that means we will have 3 protons, because the atomic number of lithium is 3. Now the mass of lithium is 6.94. So we take 6.94 and minus it by 3, because remember, atomic mass minus atomic number. That gives us 3 neutrons. And since we have 3 protons, we need 3 electrons. So the net charge is 0. The mass number is 6. Now let's go to a larger one. Let's do oxygen. Now oxygen is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's the 8th element on the periodic table. Remember, we move from left to right. Now, since the atomic number of oxygen is 8, we have 8 protons. And remember, since we have 8 protons, we'll have 8 electrons. And the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. So we will take the atomic number minus by the atomic mass, or the atomic mass minus the atomic number. So 16 minus 8 means we will have 8 neutrons. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here the mass number is 16. The net charge is 0. Now I would like to show you a positive ion. So learning back, we know protons are positive charged particles and electrons are negative charged particles. So let's do carbon. Now carbon is the 6th element on the periodic table. That means it has 6 protons. So we want this to be a positive ion. And that means we are going to need more protons than we do electrons. So we have 6 protons, so that means we're only going to have 5 electrons. This means that there's more of a positive charge than there is negative. See, we have a positive ion, because again, there are 6 protons and 5 electrons. The atomic mass of carbon is 12, so we'll take 12 minus 6, because the atomic mass minus the atomic number, that means we will have 6 neutrons. Now the neutrons do not affect the ion charge. And we have 12 as the mass number. Now let's try it. Let's make a negative ion. Let's do oxygen again. So we need 8 protons because oxygen atomic number is 8. The atomic mass is 16, so 16 minus 8 is 8 neutrons, because again, we do atomic mass minus atomic number. And now that we want it to be a negative ion, that means we are going to need more electrons than we have protons. So if we have 8 protons, we are going to need 9 electrons, because there will be more negative charged particles in the atom than there are positive charged particles. See, it's a neutral atom because we have 8 protons and 8 electrons, but we want a negative ion atom. So here we have 9 electrons, 8 protons. Our net charge is -1, and our mass number is 16. There will be an assessment on Plickers